Did you know that 2 billion candy canes are made every year, and almost all of them get sold in just 4 weeks? Today we're sneaking behind factory doors to discover how your favorite Christmas sweets are made. We'll find out how candy canes get their perfect stripes, and how chocolate Santas get their friendly shape. These are all the secrets of holiday treat making that you never knew. Let's start with everyone's favorite striped sweet, the candy cane. You know those red and white hucks hanging from your Christmas tree? Well, their journey begins with an amazing recipe and, of course, machines. First up, huge factory kettles mix sugar, water, and corn syrup until they get super hot. We're talking about 140 degrees Celsius. Think of it as making the world's biggest batch of hard candy. They also add cream of tartar. Why? Well, it helps create tiny air bubbles that make the candy more stable. Now here's where the magic begins. The hot, sticky mixture, which looks kind of like amber-colored glop, gets poured onto special water-cooled tables, and just like a choreographed dance, workers start preparing a special mix of starch and that classic peppermint flavoring. Fun fact, some candy canes are made with wintergreen instead of peppermint. The real transformation happens next. The candy goes through what they call a kneading process. Imagine giant mechanical hands with shovels folding and stretching the candy, and as they keep working it, the amber-colored mixture slowly turns silky white. Cold water keeps running through the machines to help make the candy firmer, kind of like when you're making cookie dough, but way more scientific. Now comes the artistic part. Remember those iconic red stripes? Workers keep some of the mixture aside and color it red. Then, like precision surgeons, they place 2 red strips on either side of the white candy. But the tricky part? This candy loaf can weigh up to 50 kilograms. That's why it usually takes 2 people to move it to the next machine, called a batch roller. The batch roller does something pretty cool. It rolls the red and white candy thinner and thinner until it's exactly the right size for a candy cane. They have to keep it warm so it stays flexible, and it moves through this wave-like conveyor that makes sure it doesn't stretch too much. The candy rope then travels through 2 angled belts that give it that classic spiral look. Then automated knives cut the candy into just the right lengths. Each piece gets wrapped in cellophane right away and heat sealed to keep it fresh. But we're not done yet. The straight candy sticks need to become candy canes, right? That's where the Krucker deck comes in. It's a special machine that curves each piece into that famous huck shape. The candy's still warm enough to bend, but super fragile, so they have to be really gentle. Special cameras check every single candy cane for cracks or breaks. Any that aren't perfect get pulled out. These candy makers are serious about quality. The whole process, from hot sugar to wrapped candy cane, takes about 30 to 40 minutes. Pretty impressive when you think about those billions of candy canes made each year. Now let's look at another magical part of Christmas treat making. Chocolate Santas and reindeer. How does Lindt create those irresistible foil-wrapped Santas? The journey starts with the star ingredient. Lindt is super picky about their cocoa beans. They choose only the best ones from specific regions around the world. These beans are like the building blocks of great chocolate, and getting them right is crucial for that signature Lindt taste. First up is roasting. Think of it as a spa treatment for cocoa beans. The temperature and timing have to be just right to bring out those amazing flavors hiding inside each bean. After roasting, the beans get cracked open to reveal these little treasures called cocoa nibs. Those nibs get ground up into something called cocoa mass. It's the chocolate equivalent of making a smoothie. This grinding process actually melts the natural cocoa butter in the beans. That's what helps give Lindt chocolate that super smooth texture that just melts in your mouth. Next, they mix this cocoa mass with other ingredients. More cocoa butter, because you can never have too much. Sugar, for that perfect sweetness. Milk powder for milk chocolate varieties. This mixture gets ground even finer. We're talking super fine until it's silky smooth. The chocolate mixture then gets poured into special molds shaped like Santa Claus. These molds are designed with incredible detail, from Santa's jolly smile to the folds in his coat. But timing is everything here. The chocolate needs to be at just the right temperature. Once the molds are filled, they go through a carefully controlled cooling process. This step is super important. It's what gives the chocolate that perfect snap when you bite into it. Each Santa has to cool evenly to keep its shape and that gorgeous shine. Every chocolate Santa goes through some serious quality control. They check for things like Perfect shape and detail, that lint shine, proper thickness, no air bubbles or imperfections, and only the best make it to the next step. The approved Santas get wrapped in Lintt's signature red and gold foil. Fun fact, they even include a tiny gift bag in Santa's hand. Talk about attention to detail. Each wrapper is designed to protect the chocolate while making it look festive and gift-worthy. But Lindt doesn't stop at just Santas. They make adorable chocolate reindeer too. The process is similar, but with different molds and designs. Throughout this whole process, temperature control is crucial. Too warm, the chocolate won't set properly. Too cold, it might not get that perfect shine. It's basically chocolate science where every step has to be just right. This next Christmas treat is something really colorful, those festive holiday M&Ms. You know, the ones that turn your candy bowl into a Christmas decoration? Well, how they're made is just as fascinating as our other treats. It all starts with chocolate, of course. The process begins with carefully selected cocoa beans from places like West Africa and South America. Just like with our chocolate Santas, these beans need special treatment to become the perfect M&M centers. They get roasted to develop their flavor. The roasting also helps remove the outer shells of the beans. Once roasted, the beans go through what's called cracking and winnowing. These little bits of cocoa, called nibs, then get ground into something called chocolate liquor. Don't worry, there's no alcohol involved, it's just what they call the pure chocolate mixture. Now comes the mixing. The chocolate liquor gets blended with sugar and other ingredients to create that classic M&M chocolate taste. Here the mixture goes through something called conching. Imagine a giant machine that stirs the chocolate for hours and hours, making it super smooth and getting rid of any bitter flavors. This smooth chocolate mixture goes into huge rotating drums. They call it the panning process. As the chocolate tumbles around, it forms into those perfect little round centers. It's kind of like making snowballs, but instead of snow, it's chocolate. Time for their candy shell. This is where regular chocolate becomes an M&M. The centers keep tumbling in those drums while they get coated with layers of candy shell material. First comes a thin layer of syrup, then sugar, then more layers until they're just right. Between each layer, they get dried to make sure the shell is nice and crunchy. For holiday M&Ms, this is where the Christmas magic happens. Instead of regular M&M colors, they use special festive ones. Beautiful reds, greens, and whites that make you think of Christmas. Each color is carefully chosen to match the holiday spirit perfectly. And those aren't just any regular dyes, they use special food-safe colors that won't fade or run. Some M&Ms even get their own holiday messages. Using edible ink, they print tiny seasonal designs or messages on each piece. Throughout the whole process, they check everything constantly. Each batch gets tested for size. They want all those M&Ms to be nice and uniform. They check the colors to make sure they're exactly right for the holiday theme. Any M&Ms that aren't perfect, they don't make it to the holiday batch. The final step is packaging. The bags are specially designed with holiday themes, things like snowflakes and Christmas trees. They seal them super carefully to keep the M&Ms fresh until they reach your holiday candy dish. Let's end our sweet factory tour with something that's become a huge holiday tradition: gingerbread houses. Remember when making these meant spending hours baking and hoping the walls would stand up straight? Well, nowadays factories have mastered the art of creating perfect gingerbread house kits that make our lives so much easier. The process starts with a worker measuring out baking soda, the ingredient that helps give gingerbread its perfect texture. Then comes a scoop of salt. Next up are all those wonderful spices that make gingerbread smell like Christmas. They carefully measure out cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice. All these dry ingredients head into an enormous mixer, way bigger than anything you'd find in your kitchen. Then the system pipes in water, molasses, and sugar from the top. But there's one more important addition. A big block of vegetable shortening gets tossed in. This helps create that perfect gingerbread texture. The mixer works its magic, creating a putty-like dough that's just right for gingerbread houses. This dough travels up a special spiraling mechanism onto a conveyor belt. There's even a roller that flattens any chunks so nothing falls off during the steep climb. At the top, the dough meets a machine called a sheeter. Think of it like a giant rolling pin that never gets tired. It rolls the pieces into what looks like an endless sheet of gingerbread. The thickness has to be just right, not too thick and not too thin. Then a massive cookie cutter powered by compressed air swoops down. It punches out all the different pieces needed for a gingerbread house. We're talking walls, roof pieces, and sometimes even little decorative bits. The excess dough doesn't go to waste though, it gets mixed back into the next batch. The cut-out pieces travel on rubber-coated wires to a huge convection oven. They ride through on a baking sheet belt, getting baked to perfection. Once they come out, they're not done yet. They need to cool and firm up. That's where the spiral conveyor comes in. It takes them on a 30-minute cooling journey. But what about the icing? In another part of the factory, they're busy making the glue that holds everything together. The icing gets carefully mixed to the perfect consistency. Special machines fill plastic bags with the icing and attach applicator tips. Each bag gets heat sealed to keep the icing fresh until you're ready to build. Workers carefully stack all the pieces for one house onto cardboard. Everything gets checked to make sure you'll have all the pieces you need. They pack it all up with the icing bags and sometimes even candy decorations. Now you're ready to build your own edible holiday masterpiece. From start to finish, these factories have thought of everything to make our gingerbread house dreams come true. No more collapsed walls or missing pieces, just pure holiday fun. Now you know the secrets behind your favorite Christmas treats. From candy canes to chocolate Santas, festive M&Ms to gingerbread houses, each one is made with incredible attention to detail. Next time you enjoy these holiday treats, you'll know exactly how they were made. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more behind-the-scenes videos like this one. Which Christmas treat is your favorite to make or eat? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this sweet factory tour, and have a wonderful holiday season.